Okay, good morning. Namaste to all. Let's start the class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. अस्तो मा सद्गम्य तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्य मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गम्य ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. So these days we are going through Sadhana Panchakam. So 5 verses of the sadhana. And this is the sadhana for the mind, for our behavior, for our subtle body. Okay. So this is not a Hatha Yoga sadhana we are talking about. Hatha Yoga sadhana has 7 parts to it. Okay. Where we clean our nose, we do pranayam, we do the mudras, yogic mudras, where we learn how to meditate, go into samadhi. Okay. So this is a Sadhana Panchakam according to Adi Shankaracharya. So we finished our first verse last week, which had 8 parts to it. 8 parts. Let me just quickly give you the titles again of those 8 parts. First he said, study Vedas daily. Then step 2, he said, perform your duties diligently ordained by the Vedas. So if you study the scriptures only, you will know what those Vedas are telling us to do and what not to do. Then he said, step number 3, dedicate all the actions or the duties as worship to the Lord. So that means remembering God and offering the result to the God. God, I'm living this life for you. Me is out. Then step number 4, let the desire prompted activities be given up. Desire prompted. Okay. Kamanaye. If you cannot give up right away, at least reduce them. Then he said, let the multitude of sins be uprooted. Paridhuyatam. There's some flaws. They are inside our chitta. Sure, outside we are not doing anything wrong now, but still there are some old impressions. We need to clear those up too. We got to get rid of them also. Paridhuyatam. Then step 6, we learned to reflect upon inherent limitations of worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures, sure, momentarily they give us happiness, but there is a defect in them. They are not infinite. That is number 6. Then number 7, entertain desire for knowing the self. I want to know myself. I don't want to get entangled into this world. My main purpose in this life is to know myself. How come I don't know myself yet? Intensify that desire. And then number 8, he said, as soon as desire for self-knowledge arises, this kind of a desire, I want to know myself, leave the house quickly. Okay, we talked about that also. Detach, mentally detach. We don't have to run away from homes. Mentally detach. This is not mine. I'm just only a custodian of it. I'm thankful to God that who has given me this shelter, but it's not mine. And shelter of just not the outer shelter alone, but the shelter of this body also. It's not mine. I'm just living in it to know myself. So this was the very first verse. Then we did a couple of verses, couple of steps of the second verse also. He said, Sangaha Satsu Vidyetam. Seek the company of wise people. Because as human beings, we like company. Be careful about the company you have. Seek the company of wise people. It could be in the books form. It could be at the physically also. Be present in the company, like-minded people. It will speed up your journey. And then he said, cultivate steady devotion to the Lord. Bhagavato bhakti drida adhyetam. Worship. This worship, even yesterday, the scripture which we were studying, what did he say? Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Worship. We got to understand this worship word properly too. Pay some attention to that. It's not a mechanical worship. The worship from your inner core of your heart. So up to this point, we talked about it last week. Last couple of weeks, we have been studying this. So any question before I move on to the next one? No? Okay. So step 11, I would say, because I want to just keep the counting from 1 to 40. Okay. So 5 verses, each verse has 8 parts to it. So altogether 40. So right now, step number 11. Step number 11, he says, Shanti Adi Parichayatam. Parichayatam means cultivate. And Shanti Adi means, Shanti means peace. Adi means etc. Shanti is a virtue. So cultivate the virtues such as Shanti, etc. You all know another term for Shanti is what? Sham. So what he is talking about over here is the Sham, Dam, Uprati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. That's what he's talking about when he says Adi. These are the qualities we need to cultivate. It's not just once we cultivate, they will stay with us. We got to keep a good handle on it. And even Vairagya and Vivek, they're part of it. Mumukshutvam also is part of it. Okay. In other scriptures, he called it Sadhana Chatushpada. So there are 4 levels to it. Vivek, Vairagya, Sham Adi, Mumukshutvam. And Sham Adi have, it's like a combination of 6 in there. And that's called Shat Sampati. Okay. So these are the qualities, qualifications for a serious seeker. So gain these qualifications. Quickly, if you have not studied this before, just a quick reference to it. Vivek means ability to discriminate between the real and unreal. That means shun the unreal, move towards the real. But if we know what is real, what is unreal, only then we can do that. That's a Vivek. Vairagya is dispassion towards the unreal. It's not good for me. I don't want to waste my time. This human life is too precious to run after these worldly pleasures. Then Shat Sampati, I told you. Sam, Dam, Uprati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. Sham is the peace, Dam is the restraint of the sense organs. So Sham is actually mental peace. They go hand in hand. Somebody says something to me, I may not be able to say something back to that person, but it's hurting inside. So I have cultivated Dam, but not Sham. Okay, so we need to work on that. Uprati. Uprati means attachment to the higher, not the lower. Uprati. Finding more pleasure in the Shreyas, not in the prayers. Prayers means what's pleasing to my senses. Shreyas is what is ultimately good. That's Uprati. Samadhan, concentration of the mind. Equanimity. And Titiksha is endurance. And then I mentioned Mumukshutvam. It's a longing for moksha. Longing. Burning desire for moksha. If that is my goal, how come I haven't attained it yet? And another term I used is Shraddha, having faith in the scriptures and the teachers. Shraddha. So with all of this, what are we trying to do? We are developing a mind which is equanimous, which does not get affected by internal or external situations. Because sometimes we get affected by the external situations, and all the time we get affected by external situations too. So we got to control ourselves. Develop a mind that is free from reactions. A reactive mind is not a good mind. Avoid reactions to favorable or unfavorable situations. Action is okay, but a reaction is not. Mind that maintains tranquility, serenity, and equanimity. That is the mind we need for sadhana. Equanimity in honor and dishonor. Whether somebody offers me a seat or not should not matter. Praise or criticism, it's somebody else's opinion. How should it affect me? Success or failure, these are all fleeting anyway. Today's success can become tomorrow's failure, but today's failure can become tomorrow's success. Why disturb your mind? Pleasure and pain, that is at the physical level. So equanimity from all levels of your personality. But how do you develop this equanimity or tranquility in our mind? Have this little thought in your mind or attitude, because normally whatever comes in our life, we think that it's all mine, it's all my doing. But when we always know that all we need to do is our duty, karmanya eva adhikara aste, ma phaleshu kadachan. Who gives the phal? God does. That's God's rule. That's Ishwar's rule. It's up to the Ishwar to give me. Take it as a prasad. Do not get disturbed. Okay? So when we keep this attitude, then equanimity can be maintained. So by bringing Ishwar into our life, we neutralize likes and dislikes. Otherwise, when something likable happens, we jump up. When something we don't like, we get depressed. But when we think, no, it is Ishwar who is giving it to us, then we can stay equanimous. We become free from likes and dislikes. Sham and Dam are cultivated by being alert also. We don't want to live a life unconsciously. We got to be conscious about this life, stay alert. And Rishi Patanjali even told us, develop a habit of Pratipaksha Bhavana. That attitude of Pratipaksha Bhavana keeps us equanimous. How do we develop that? Whenever there is a calm desire, replace it with the control, dam. Okay, control it. No blind suppression. It's not you're suppressing it, but you're sublimating it. When there's a krodha, anger, replace it with the daya, compassion. Somebody said something to you and you feel that anger inside you, have a compassion for that person. Cultivate it. It takes some doing. That's why it's a sadhana. If it was automatic, then there's no need to call it a sadhana. Sadhana is where you have to make an effort. When there's a lobh, the greed, replace it with the charity. Danam. There are those who don't have as much as we do. And it is our responsibility to share it with them. If I have 2 shirts and somebody I see doesn't have any shirt, it's okay to give one to that person. That's dana. That is a sadhana. Need to have healthy attitude towards these values. And wherever there is a jealousy, matsare, replace it with the appreciation. You see somebody singing better than you, somebody writing better than you, somebody teaching better than you. Don't feel jealous. Always think that, hey, this person is helping me also to do God's work. It's not just me alone. There is somebody else is doing it too. Then it becomes a sadhana. Where there is a pride, mad, replace it with humility. Okay, so remember all these. But the bottom line is what he said, cultivate these qualities with the help of this sadhana. Okay, Shanti Adi Parichiyata. Watch yourself. Now let's look at step number 12. Dridtaram karmashu santajyatam. Dridtaram karmashu. That means very strong desires which make you do the actions. Dridtaram karmashu. Samtyajyat means abandon them. Quickly give up. Quickly, don't wait. Don't think that from next week or next month or when I retire or when I get a little older. No. Quickly give up for good, desire prompted actions. When actions are disciplined and there is a devotion in our heart, mind becomes tranquil and steady. And at that time, there's a desire for self-knowledge. Then that person is ready for sannyasa. Actually, this is what samtyajyatam means. Ready for sannyasa. Dedicated pursuit for self-knowledge. Do not even let your duties, worldly duties, the secular duties become obstacle at this point. Okay? Because mind is playing a trick. Mind says, no, this is my duty. Because of this secular duty, I'm doing it. That duty becomes also a desire sometimes, and it becomes an obstacle. So whenever there is a commitment for self-knowledge, just work on it. Person is ready for an initiation, sannyasa. And again, remember, sannyasa is not running away from the family. Sannyas means having renunciation in the mind, vairagyam in the mind. Okay? As a householder, we can do this. Because sometimes we think that our duties in the household are very strong. But we got to choose, we got to look at it. What is it? Where I'm getting involved extra, where I'm complicating my duties, try to simplify your duties. We all are capable of doing it. We got to play our roles intelligently. We got to do our job intelligently. Because when these roles and duties are done as a job, then it's very easy to renounce them. But when we think that by doing this, I am seeking pleasure, then you get attached to them. Okay, so have a dispassion in your mind. See, just like Nachiketa. From the Kathopanishad, we learned that young boy, he was offered 3 boons by Yamraj, the god of death. What did he do? He used the first 2 boons for the benefit of his father. That was his duty. Duty towards the father. Then second boon who used duty towards the community. But the third boon, he asked Yamraj to teach him the self-knowledge. Even though Yamraj tempted Nachiketa with worldly things, all kinds of opulence, but Nachiketa was unswerving in seeking self-knowledge. And this is how we should be. So determined, so fixed that my duties are done. I'm going to just keep on simplifying my duties. But my main emphasis should be in knowing myself. Such a person is ready to renounce. That's why he used the word sam. Samtyajyatam. Completely, strongly, verily. That's what this sam means. Then what do you do once we have this kind of a determination? He says, Sad vidwan up supriyatam. Sad vidwan, a master, a guru. Up supriyatam, take shelter. So that means is approach a wise person. Not just a learned person, a wise person who is capable of unfolding the truth about the self. Who knows this matter. Take a shelter. Surrender to this kind of a person. So in other words, go to a guru who is well versed in the scriptures. That's what Lord Krishna said, Shrotriye, who knows the scriptures and who is well established in the self-knowledge also. Brahmanishta. These are the 2 qualifications of a guru. Guru should know the scriptures and Guru should have a full recognition and abidance in the self also. A guru who has come from a proper lineage, who knows how to communicate, surrender to such kind of a guru. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. But how do we find such a guru? In our current state of ignorance, even if a guru appears in front of us, we may not be able to recognize because our vision is clouded. So keep on developing the intense desire for self-knowledge by living the instructions taught in the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. Just keep on working on that at least. When the desire is strong, when you are ready, you'll be blessed with the Guru. Okay, then you can recognize Guru also. Otherwise, Guru could be, Brahma could be in front of us. Brihaspati could be in front of us. Lord Krishna was in front of Duryodhan. But he could not recognize. So we got to cultivate these qualities in us so that we can recognize the Guru also. Then he says how to approach a Guru, because that's what he says. Approach a wise person, approach a Guru. But how do we approach a Guru? Mundak Upanishad gives a beautiful example of how to approach a Guru. In Mundak Upanishad, Rishi says that the disciple takes the Samhita in the hand. Samit Pani. Pani means hands. Those Samhitas in your hand, take it to the Guru. Samhita is the dry wood, dry twigs, or a bundle of dry twigs. There's a Vedic ritual. You all are familiar with the yajna, the havan. What do we use in it? The dry twigs. What does Guru need? To do that ritual at the physical level, those dry twigs. But there is a deeper philosophical meaning behind it. We are taking our dried up desires to the Guru. Because you already dried up your desires. With the contemplation, with the sadhana, all the worldly desires, they are dried up by this time. And you just take that bundle to the Guru, and the Guru says, I'll burn them. But the dryness we have to do. So dry twigs symbolizes seva bhav also of the student. So that's why this verse beautifully says, Sad Vidwan Upasupriyatam. Student approaches the teacher, prostrates at the feet of the teacher. Prostration shows the humility. That means letting go of the ego. When a person, see, prostration means completely lying down at the feet of the Guru. And when you're lying down, there's no shadow. So that's what symbolically it means. Not even a shadow of your vasanas left. Because when you're standing, there is a shadow. When you're prostrating, not even a shadow. So prostration shows humility on the part of the student and giving himself to the hands of the teacher. Completely. In Bhagavad Gita, we see that Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna. When the student surrenders to the teacher, it shows confidence and a trust the student has in the teacher. Arjuna said many times, only you can dispel my doubts. Only you can tell me. Nobody else can. That is a full confidence in the teacher. Arjuna doesn't say, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to listen to somebody else also and then I'll make up my decision. That's not a confidence. That's not a surrender. That's putting your feet into boats. So complete surrender. For self-knowledge to take place, the student needs to have a disposition of mind that is receptive. If a mind is calm, only then it will receive. When listening, there should not be any resistance. Mind needs to be absorbing. So when we are in front of a Guru, that kind of a mind we want, which is absorbing everything. In order to do this, there has to be a reverence for the teacher. There has to be a faith in the teacher. student has to be at the same length as the teacher. And all this is indicated by these two terms over here. And in simple language, it's a Shraddha, Bhakti. Surrender and trust. Okay. So without these qualities, when we are learning, then it's like a lukewarm learning. Okay. That's why in Hindi, what do they say? Dhobi ka kutta, na ghar ka, na ghat ka. A lot of work is happening, but nothing is really sticking. Okay. So now let's look at next step number 14. Pratidinam tat padukaha sevyatam. Pratidinam, every day. Tat paduka sevyatam. Serve at the feet of Guru. Tat means his. So serve the paduka of teacher daily. It really means, sure, there is a tradition of serving or offering your flowers at the feet of the Guru or paduka of a Guru. Paduka means those sandals of the Guru. But does Guru need that? The Guru is who is connected with God. We are not doing this for Guru. Guru needs very less. Guru wants to take care of us. So Guru is not needy. Guru, out of his love, teaches us. Guru is just serving God. Serving a teacher over here means stay alert, observe, and let go of your likes and dislikes. And when we are thinking and serving a Guru or Guru's feet, we are thinking about the needs of the teacher. A true teacher will never exploit the student. What does a true teacher needs? A Guru wants the students to get rid of the ahankar. Because that I is that standing between us and the goal. And Guru wants us to shed that. So when this scripture says that Pratidinam tad paduka sevatham, that really means surrender yourself, surrender your ego, surrender your likes and dislikes. Then you will really get the blessings from the heart of a Guru. Because what is in the heart of a Guru? God. Then you are directly connected with the God. And when the teacher is pleased with the sadhak, then the teachings really start actually. Because otherwise that wall of ego does not let pierce through. So that's why this pratidinam tat paduka sevyatam. That's what it means. It's not for Guru's sake we are doing it. We are doing it for our sake, so that our ahankar gets eliminated by doing the seva. Because sometimes out of our own ignorance, we think we are doing a favor to the Guru by doing the Guru seva. No, Guru doesn't need any seva. No true Guru needs any seva. Number 15. Brahma ek aksharam ardhayatam. Brahma ev akshar. What is ek akshar? Om. Sometimes people think, no, there are 3 akshar in there. No, it's a ek akshar. Oh, that's all it is. Oh. We cannot say long enough. Oh, And that's why we got to end it with close our mouth. But actually it's a ek akshar. Brahm is its name. So ask the teacher to unfold the knowledge of Brahm, that is one, that is beyond destruction. Thare tham. Brahm can never be destroyed. By definition, it cannot be. It was never created. It can never be destroyed. And it's called by that ek akshar. Ask the teacher. Only the guru who knows about it can teach us this. So after serving the guru, when the time comes, ask the guru about self-knowledge. That's what it really means. Because there's a God inside of them. I mean, in us also there's a God. God is everywhere, but they are in touch with it. Ego has been removed. So whatever they sankalp, that becomes a satya sankalp. We seek their favors. We seek for the self-knowledge. So ideally ask for the knowledge where you can be free from the needs, free from the desires. In the Mundak Upanishad, we saw a statement like this, that student says, please teach me that, knowing which everything becomes known. It is this knowledge which makes us free. Because goal is freedom. What can make us free? We want to know that knowledge, because so far we've been learning the knowledge which can make me earn money. We want to know the knowledge which can make me famous. But these rishis, they are asking for that knowledge which will make me free. Knowing which everything becomes known. It is this knowledge that makes us free. By gaining self-knowledge, we can be comfortable with everything. We can understand everything. How this body is functioning, how this mind is functioning. What is the function of the intellect? Even though they are inert, but how are they functioning? By gaining self-knowledge, we know what causes. In this jadata, chetanta, ask the questions to a guru. What is bondage? How did I get bondaged? If I'm free, how did I get bondaged? And how does this bondage continue to exist? And how can I free myself from bondage? We see these questions being asked by students of these great Upanishads. They ask, what is our nature? We should ask that too. What is the nature of non-self? How to differentiate between the self and the non-self? Ask about the truth. So this is what he is saying. Ask the teacher these questions. Then he says the truth has to be one. Brahm Ekaksharam. Everything is springing from that one source. Ask for that knowledge to be revealed. Gaining which everything else is gained. Okay, so this is a step number 15. Brahm Ekaksharam. Then let's look at the last part of this verse, step 16. Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakarnyatyam. Shruti Shiro Vakyam. These are the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads. Shruti means the Upanishads over here, the Vedas. Samakarnyata. Listen to them deeply, in depth. What does it really mean? These Mahavakyas. So listen properly to the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads. Because Upanishads contain the entire self-knowledge. And why Shiro Vakyam? Shir means the head. Upanishads are also considered the head of the Vedas. Head means the most important limb. That's where we need to go to. With the help of the Karam Kand is the first one. Then comes the Upasana Kand. Then comes the Gyan Kand, and Gyan Kand is the Upanishad, and that's why it's called the Shiro Vakyam. And in the Upanishads also, there are Mahavakyas, 4 Mahavakyas in the Upanishads. So teachings of Upanishads reveals self-knowledge. And you all know there are 4 Mahavakyas. They're like a declarations of the Upanishads or the supreme truth. One is Pragyanam Brahma. Consciousness is Brahma. Pragyanam. Tat Tvam Asi. That thou art. I am Atma Brahma. This self is Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. These are the 4 Mahavakyas. So when a qualified student comes to teacher should teach. It's a duty of a teacher to teach. When the student has no other agenda except self-knowledge, then only teacher can teach this. If the student's mind is cluttered with the worldly desires, worldly things, worldly ambitions, then this does not take place. And it's not very easy to get a student like Nachiketa. Student like Nachiketa, even Yamraj praised in Kathopanishad. He said, you are such a prepared student. Even I was not like that. You have even crossed me in these qualifications. So respect for the teacher and the student goes both ways in our culture. Upanishads teaches that you are limitless. Everyone else is limitless. Everything is just limitless. We find ourselves limited. How? With sorrow. We conclude that we are limited, we are small. And we want to just become the president or the CEO or the CFO or a millionaire or a multi-millionaire. We just keep only those kind of goals in our life. Why? Because fundamental problem is that we have the false notions, conclusions that I am a limited being. Upanishads teach us, you are Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. You are already free. You are in this embodiment to attain that ultimate freedom. This is what Guru teaches. This is what the sadhana is about. Keep the goal high. Keep the goal this absolute. So we'll end the class because I think time is there too, and this verse is finished. So next week we will start with the verse number 3 and step number 17. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.